The sky was a deep, angry gray, streaked with flashes of lightning that briefly lit up the sleepy town of Maplewood. Rain hammered down relentlessly, turning the dirt roads into muddy streams and drumming on the rooftops like 1,000 restless fingers. The storm had chased most people indoors, leaving the streets deserted and eerily quiet, except for one faint sound. Liam was walking home from school, his jacket pulled tight against the cold wind, when he caught it. A tiny, weak whimper coming from somewhere nearby. It was so soft, almost drowned out by the thunder, but Liam's sharp ears caught it instantly. Curious and concerned, he stopped in his tracks and scanned the edge of the school's tall chain-link fence. There, in a shallow ditch barely visible through the tangled grass, something moved. Heart pounding, Liam approached carefully. The closer he got, the clearer the sound became, a small, trembling cry that tugged at his heart. He pushed aside wet leaves and brambles, and gasped. There, curled up and soaked to the skin, was a tiny puppy. But the puppy wasn't like any Liam had ever seen. Its fur was thin and patchy, dark and slick from the rain. It had no ears, only smooth skin where they should have been, and its tail was completely missing, replaced by a small bare nub. Despite this, the puppy's dark eyes were bright and full of life, staring up at Liam with a mix of fear and hope. Liam swallowed hard, his hands trembling slightly. "Hey there, little guy," he whispered gently, crouching down. The puppy didn't shy away, but instead gave a small, hopeful whine and nudged toward him. Liam's heart melted. It was clear this pup had been through something terrible, yet it still wanted to trust. He carefully picked up the fragile creature, wrapping it in his jacket to protect it from the cold rain. The puppy's body shuddered with every breath, and Liam could feel its tiny heart beating fast. "Don't worry, I've got you," he murmured softly. As Liam hurried home, the storm raged on, lightning flickering across the sky like silent warnings. His mind raced with questions. Where had this puppy come from? Why did it look so different? Was it sick or hurt? He promised himself he would do everything he could to help. At home, Liam's parents were startled to see him soaked and cradling the strange puppy. His mother quickly wrapped the pup in a warm towel and offered gentle comfort. "Where did you find her?" she asked, her voice full of concern. Liam explained the whole story, the cries in the storm, the ditch by the fence, and the puppy's unusual appearance. His father frowned but nodded, impressed by Liam's compassion. "We'll take her to the vet first thing in the morning," his mother said firmly. "She needs help." That night, Liam sat beside the puppy's small crate in the corner of the living room. The pup, now calm and safe, curled up under a soft blanket. Liam reached inside, stroking her smooth head where ears should have been. He whispered, "Hope, that's your name now, because you're a survivor." Though exhausted from the day's events, Liam found it impossible to sleep. His thoughts kept drifting back to Hope, her courage, her mystery, and the strange journey that lay ahead. What had caused her to be born without ears and a tail? Was she a miracle or something else entirely? As thunder rumbled in the distance, Liam knew one thing for certain. He wasn't going to give up on her. Hope had found him for a reason. And soon, they would both discover what that reason was. The sun rose slowly over Maplewood, casting pale light through the kitchen window as Liam's family prepared for the day. Despite the storm passing, the air still held a chill, and the streets glistened with puddles. Hope lay quietly in her crate, her unusual shape catching the eye every time Liam glanced over. The small puppy was a mystery that had taken over his thoughts completely. "We should take her to see Dr. Sonia this morning," Liam's mother said firmly during breakfast. "She's the best veterinarian in town. If anyone can help, it's her." Liam nodded eagerly, clutching the crate's handle. Hope's soft whimpers broke the silence, and he whispered, "We're almost there, girl. You're going to be okay." The animal clinic was a modest building at the edge of town, known to locals as a place of kindness and expertise. Dr. Sonia had been the town's vet for over 20 years, her gentle hands, and warm smile comforting both animals and owners alike. Today, she waited with quiet curiosity as Liam and his parents carried Hope inside. As soon as the vet saw the puppy, her expression shifted from routine to serious. The lack of ears and tail was rare, and she instinctively knew this wasn't a simple case. Gently, Dr. Sonia lifted Hope onto the examination table. She examined her with delicate care, checking the puppy's eyes, mouth, skin, and limbs. Hope shivered slightly but seemed alert, following the vet's movements with bright eyes. No wounds, no scars, Dr. Sonia muttered under her breath, her brow furrowed. This doesn't look like abuse or injury. Usually, if ears and tails are missing, it's either from an accident or surgery, but Hope's skin here is smooth and natural. Liam watched anxiously as the vet ran her hands over Hope's tiny body. "Is she going to be okay?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Dr. Sonia smiled softly. "She's strong, especially for a puppy. But we need to do some tests. Blood work, X-rays, maybe even genetic screening. There's something unusual here." The next hours were a blur of needles, machines, and hushed conversations. Hope, though small and vulnerable, endured everything with quiet bravery. Liam stayed close, stroking her fur and whispering encouragement. When Dr. Sonia returned with preliminary results, her face was thoughtful. "Hope's blood work looks normal. No infections or illnesses that we can find right now." "But what about her missing ears and tail?" Liam's mother asked. "That part is the mystery," the vet said. "No sign of trauma, no signs of disease-causing deformities. This could be a congenital condition, something genetic." Dr. Sonia recommended sending Hope's blood samples to a specialist research center in the city for further analysis. She wanted to understand if this was a rare mutation or something more unusual. As they prepared to leave, Liam hugged Hope tightly. The little puppy licked his cheek as if sensing the weight of the day. "Whatever happens, we'll stick together," Liam promised her. Back home, the family set up a cozy corner with soft blankets and food for Hope. Liam couldn't stop watching her. The way she cautiously explored her surroundings, the way her eyes seemed so aware despite her differences. That night, as Liam lay in bed, his thoughts swirled. Who was Hope, really? And why had she come into his life? He was beginning to understand that this little puppy was not just a rescued animal. She was something extraordinary. The journey to find out more had only just begun. Days passed slowly in the quiet town of Maplewood, but for Liam and his family, every moment felt charged with anticipation. The test results from Dr. Sonia's clinic had been sent off to a specialized veterinary research center in the city, but answers were still out of reach. Liam found himself watching Hope more closely than ever. Her behavior, her responses, and the quiet strength that radiated from her small, unusual body. Hope had started to settle in at the house. Despite having no ears or tail, she moved with surprising confidence. She could hear, or rather sense, sounds in a way that baffled Liam and his parents. At times, she seemed to respond to noises they couldn't hear, like faint footsteps outside the window or the distant hum of a car engine. She would tilt her head in ways that made Liam wonder if she had some other kind of awareness. Dr. Sonia visited a few days after the initial appointment, her face grave but curious. "I've reviewed the preliminary reports," she said quietly. "Hope's condition is unlike anything I've seen in my career. There's no physical damage, and her body shows no signs of injury or illness. The genetic markers, however, are very unusual. I've sent her blood to a team of specialists who focus on rare genetic mutations in animals. They'll be able to tell us more, hopefully." Liam nodded, trying to keep his hopes steady, but feeling a mixture of excitement and nervousness. He spent hours reading about congenital deformities and rare dog breeds online, searching for any clue about Hope's origins. But nothing quite matched her unique condition. Then one afternoon, the phone rang at the clinic. Dr. Sonia answered quickly, and her expression changed from calm to startled. She asked a few questions, then told Liam's parents she needed to speak with them urgently. The family gathered quickly in the vet's office, heartbeats sensing with the tension in the room. The research team has sent back some fascinating information. Dr. Sonia began. Hope isn't just a genetic anomaly. Her DNA contains markers found in a lineage of dogs thought to be extinct, dogs that were bred for specific abilities and unique physical traits. It's incredibly rare and may have historical significance. Liam's mother gasped. What kind of dogs? Dr. Sonia paused, choosing her words carefully. These dogs were part of a secret breeding program decades ago. They were bred without ears or tails because they were trained to work in environments where silence and minimal distraction were crucial. Their enhanced senses allowed them to detect subtle vibrations and scents that normal dogs could not. The room grew silent. Liam stared at Hope in awe. So she's special? Yes, Dr. Sonia confirmed. She may be one of the last of her kind. This makes her even more precious, but it also raises questions about where she came from and why she was abandoned. That evening, Liam sat in his room, Hope curled beside him on the bed. The little puppy's eyes shone with quiet intelligence, and Liam felt a deep connection. "We'll figure this out," he whispered. "You're not alone anymore." But as the mystery deepened, so did the stakes. Liam knew there were people out there who might want to take Hope away for research or worse. He was determined to protect her at all costs. Hope's story was no longer just about rescue. It was about uncovering a forgotten past and fighting for a future where she could live freely. Love for who she was, not just what she represented. And as night settled over Maplewood, Liam's mind raced with questions. What secrets did Hope's bloodline hold? And what challenges lay ahead on this extraordinary journey? News travels fast in a small town like Maplewood, but what happened next was something no one could have predicted. It started with a local reporter named Jess Harper, a woman known for her compassionate storytelling and eye for unusual human interest stories. She heard about the Earless, Tailless puppy named Hope through a tip from the vet's office. Intrigued by the mystery and drawn to the story's emotional weight, Jess decided to visit Liam's family for an interview. The day Jess arrived, Liam was nervous but excited. The house buzzed with quiet energy as cameras were set up and questions were asked. Liam told the story of how he found Hope in the storm, how the puppy's unusual condition sparked a medical mystery, and how their lives had changed since. Jess's article ran in the Maplewood Gazette the next morning under the headline, "Earless, Tailless puppy rescued. A miracle in our midst." The story struck a chord with readers far beyond Maplewood. Social media quickly picked it up, and soon, the tale of Hope, the little puppy with no ears or tail, but a heart full of courage, went viral. Messages flooded in from people all over the country. Some offered donations to help with Hope's care. Others shared stories of their own rescue animals with unique challenges. A few claimed to have seen dogs with similar features in remote forested areas. One email stood out, a message from an elderly woman named Martha, who claimed to have witnessed a rescue involving a dog that looked exactly like Hope many years ago. Liam's family read Martha's letter aloud one evening. She wrote about a secret shelter deep in the woods, a place where rare and unusual animals were hidden during a time of war. She hinted that some of these animals had been bred for extraordinary purposes and that their descendants might still exist, quietly surviving in the wild or in hiding. The news also caught the attention of regional and national media outlets. Television crews arrived, shining bright lights and asking questions that Liam sometimes found hard to answer. Through it all, Hope remained calm, her big eyes following the attention with quiet dignity. Despite the overwhelming attention, Liam and his family stayed focused on Hope's well-being. Donations helped cover medical bills and gave them access to better care and supplies. But with fame came new worries. There were rumors of researchers and private collectors who wanted to study or even take Hope for their own purposes. One afternoon, Dr. Sonia came to the house with a serious expression. "You need to be careful," she warned. "Not everyone has good intentions. Hope's unique genetics make her valuable in ways that could be dangerous if she falls into the wrong hands. Liam clenched his fists. She's not just some experiment. She's my friend. The family agreed to tighten security at home and be cautious about sharing too much information. But the story was out there now, and the world was watching. As the media storm swirled, Hope continued to amaze everyone with her intelligence and gentle spirit. She quickly became a symbol of resilience and hope, living proof that beauty and strength come in many forms. Liam often wondered if Hope understood the attention she was getting. Sometimes she would sit quietly, staring out the window, as if she was listening to secrets only she could hear. And Liam knew, deep down, that Hope's story was far from over. The discovery at the vet's office had opened a door to a hidden past, but it also raised new questions. Who had bred Hope's ancestors? Why had they disappeared? And what would the future hold for this extraordinary puppy with no ears or tail? The answers were waiting, somewhere out there, and Liam was determined to find them. Life in Maplewood had changed drastically since Hope's story went viral. Liam and his family had grown used to the whirlwind of media attention, the constant phone calls, and the flood of messages from strangers around the world. Yet, amidst all the noise, they remained determined to protect Hope and uncover the truth about her origins. One chilly afternoon, as autumn leaves swirled outside the window, Liam was sitting with Hope in the living room, gently brushing her patchy fur. Suddenly, there was a sharp knock at the door. Liam's mother opened it cautiously. Standing there was a tall man in a dark coat, his face serious and calm. He introduced himself as Dr. Adrian Marks, a geneticist who specialized in rare animal mutations. He explained that he had heard about Hope through the research center Dr. Sonia had contacted and wanted to offer his help. Liam's parents exchanged uneasy glances. "How do we know we can trust you?" Liam's father asked. Dr. Marks smiled gently. "I understand your concern. I'm here because I believe Hope is not just special. She could hold the key to scientific discoveries that can help many animals. But more importantly, I want to help keep her safe." After some discussion, Liam's family agreed to let Dr. Marks examine Hope under their watchful eyes. Over the next few days, the geneticist conducted detailed tests, analyzing Hope's DNA and comparing it to the results from the earlier lab. His findings were astonishing. Hope's DNA contains markers from a lineage of dogs thought extinct, but there's more, Dr. Marks explained one evening. There's evidence of selective breeding for enhanced sensory perception. She's probably able to detect vibrations, scents, and sounds beyond what normal dogs can. Liam's eyes widened. So she's like a super dog. Dr. Marks chuckled. In a way, yes, but this also means she's incredibly rare and valuable. There are groups who might want to exploit that. The geneticist's warning hit home hard. Liam felt the weight of responsibility grow heavier. Hope was no longer just a puppy in need of a home. She was a living treasure with a past shrouded in secrecy. Then, things took a darker turn. One night, Liam heard noises outside their house. Shadows moved near the windows, and strange vehicles idled down the street. His heart raced. Could it be someone looking for Hope? He woke his parents, and together they peered through the curtains. A group of men in dark clothing were cautiously approaching the house, their eyes scanning the windows. Liam's father called the police immediately. Officers arrived quickly, but the intruders had vanished into the night. The incident left the family shaken but more determined than ever to protect Hope. Dr. Marks offered to help set up additional security measures and advised them to be cautious about who they trusted. Amid the tension, Hope remained a source of comfort and strength. She seemed to sense the danger but stayed calm, her loyalty to Liam unwavering. Liam often sat with her, wondering about her past and the people who might be connected to her, who had abandoned her in that storm. Were they involved in this secret breeding program Dr. Sonia had mentioned? The questions burned in Liam's mind, fueling a growing resolve. One evening, while scrolling through his messages, Liam found a new email from Martha. the elderly woman who had written about the secret shelter in the woods. She offered to meet and share more information, promising clues that could unlock Hope's history. Hope nudged Liam's hand as if encouraging him. Liam knew this meeting might be the next step in a journey far bigger than he had imagined. A journey that could change everything for Hope, and for all of them. The following Saturday, Liam drove out to meet Martha, the elderly woman who had promised answers about Hope's mysterious past. The sky was clear, but a cool breeze rustled through the trees lining the winding road to the outskirts of Maplewood. Liam clutched Hope close in the passenger seat, the puppy's calm presence steadying his nerves. Martha lived in a small, weathered cottage nestled deep in the woods, surrounded by ancient oaks and wildflowers. The porch was cluttered with potted plants and old gardening tools, and the scent of fresh pine filled the air. When Liam knocked, the door opened slowly, revealing a kind-faced woman with silver hair and sharp, knowing eyes. "Welcome, Liam, and you must be Hope," she said softly, kneeling to stroke the puppy's head. Hope responded with a gentle wag of her nub of a tail, as if sensing the warmth in Martha's presence. Martha invited them inside. The cottage was cozy and filled with relics, old photographs, faded maps, and worn books stacked on every surface. It was clear this woman had spent a lifetime gathering stories and secrets. "I've been waiting for someone like you," Martha began, her voice low and steady. "Hope is special, and her story is part of something much bigger than a small-town rescue." She pulled out a yellowed photo album and opened it carefully. The pages showed black and white images of dogs, some with no ears or tails, others with unusual markings, all lined up in what looked like a training facility deep in the woods. "These dogs were bred during a time of war," Martha explained. "The secret shelter you read about wasn't just a rumor. It was real, a hidden sanctuary where these unique dogs were kept and trained for special missions. They could work silently in the forests, sensing danger and protecting those who couldn't protect themselves." Liam's eyes widened as he traced the photos with his fingers. "Do you think Hope is one of them?" Martha nodded. "She's a descendant, for sure. But something happened. The program was shut down decades ago, and many of the dogs were lost, abandoned, or hidden away." "Why was the program shut down?" Liam asked. "Because the government feared what the dogs represented," Martha said grimly. "Their abilities were too advanced, too unpredictable. They didn't want the knowledge spreading or falling into the wrong hands." Liam looked down at Hope, who lay quietly in his lap, her eyes reflecting the flickering firelight. Suddenly, her missing ears and tail didn't seem like flaws anymore. They were signs of a legacy of strength, courage, and secrecy. Martha leaned forward, her expression serious. "There are still people who know about the program and want to find these dogs, either to capture them or to silence anyone who knows the truth." Liam's heart pounded. "So that's why we're in danger." "Yes," Martha said softly. "But you're not alone. There are others who want to protect Hope, and you." She handed Liam a worn notebook filled with notes, maps, and names. "This belonged to a man named Carl, one of the original trainers. He disappeared years ago, but his work might help you understand what's coming next." Liam clutched the notebook tightly. It was a key to the past and a guide for the future. As the evening deepened, Martha shared more stories of the dogs, their missions, and the sacrifices made to keep their secrets safe. Liam listened, feeling the weight of history settle around him. When it was time to leave, Martha smiled gently. "Be careful, Liam. Hope is more than just a puppy. She's a symbol of something powerful. Protect her, and you protect a legacy." Driving back through the dark woods, Liam felt a mixture of fear and hope. The path ahead was uncertain and dangerous, but he was ready. Hope was counting on him, and he would not let her down. Back home in Maplewood, the air felt heavier than usual. Liam kept Martha's notebook close, poring over the faded pages every night. The more he read, the clearer it became that Hope's story was entwined with secrets many wanted buried. The old notes described covert operations, mysterious disappearances, and warnings about those who would stop at nothing to recover the special dogs. Despite the growing danger, Hope remained a source of light and comfort. Her quiet bravery never wavered, even as strange things began happening around the house. One evening, Liam noticed unfamiliar footprints in the garden. Large, heavy boots pressed into the soft earth. The locks on the windows seemed tampered with, subtle scratches etched into the wood. It was a chilling reminder that the threat wasn't just in the shadows. It was at their doorstep. Liam's family decided to increase security. Cameras were installed, motion sensors set, and neighbors asked to keep an eye out. But no matter what precautions they took, Liam felt the weight of the unseen eyes watching them. Then came the phone calls, silent, empty, but persistent. Each night, the phone would ring just once before hanging up, an ominous pattern meant to unsettle. Liam stayed awake one night, Hope curled beside him, ears alert despite not having any. He wished she could warn him somehow, but he also knew she was stronger than any fear. As days passed, a strange man began appearing near the edge of their property. Tall and quiet, he watched from a distance, blending into the twilight. Liam tried to get a good look, but never close enough to confront. "Dad, I think someone is spying on us," Liam confessed one afternoon. His father nodded grimly. "We'll call the police again. This isn't just coincidence." Meanwhile, Dr. Adrian Marks remained a steady ally. He continued his research with the utmost discretion and helped the family navigate the growing dangers. One afternoon, while reviewing Hope's latest test results, Dr. Marks made a startling discovery. "There's something in her DNA, an anomaly that doesn't match any known dog or wolf lineage," he said carefully. "It suggests Hope might have traits that science doesn't fully understand yet." Liam's breath caught. "Like what?" "Enhanced senses, maybe even a type of communication we haven't studied. It's almost as if she belongs to a different evolutionary branch." The idea was both incredible and frightening. As the threats grew, so did Liam's determination. He refused to hide. Instead, he started reaching out to animal rights groups and specialists, hoping to create a network of protection for Hope. Then came the breakthrough. Martha's contacts in the secret shelter network came forward. Other families who had hidden dogs with unusual traits. They shared stories, advice, and warnings. Together, they formed a fragile alliance, united by the goal to protect the last of these extraordinary dogs. But the question remained: who was behind the attempts to capture Hope? What did they want to do with her? And how far would they go? One stormy night, Liam heard the sound of breaking glass downstairs. Heart pounding, he grabbed a flashlight and crept toward the noise, Hope close behind. In the dim light, he saw a shadow moving quickly past the kitchen. Without thinking, Liam shouted, "Hey, who's there?" The figure paused, then dashed out the back door. Liam ran outside, but the intruder had disappeared into the rain-soaked darkness. That night, Liam realized the fight to protect Hope had become more urgent than ever. They were no longer just a family rescuing a puppy. They were guardians of a secret that could change everything. And the shadows were closing in fast. The night after the break-in, Liam barely slept. Hope lay beside him, sensing his unease even without ears to hear or a tail to wag. But her calm presence gave him strength. He knew they were in this together, no matter what. The police had increased patrols around the house, and Dr. Marks installed state-of-the-art security cameras and alarms. Yet the feeling of danger lingered like a shadow over the family's every move. Amid the tension, Liam decided it was time to act. He reached out to the animal protection groups and the network Martha had helped connect him to. Together, they planned a meeting to discuss how best to keep Hope and others like her safe. When the day arrived, Liam drove to a secluded park outside town where several families gathered, each accompanied by their own unusual dogs, some with extra toes, others with patchy fur, but all with a quiet resilience similar to Hope's. Among them was an older man named Carl, the very trainer whose notebook Martha had given Liam. His eyes held stories of hardship and hope. He shared first-hand knowledge about the secret shelter and the special training the dogs had undergone. Those dogs were never just experiments, Carl said. They were family. And now, it's up to us to protect that family. The group agreed to form a coalition dedicated to safeguarding these rare dogs and educating the public about their importance and gentle nature. Back home, Hope seemed to thrive despite the chaos. Her senses remained sharp, and she quickly bonded with the other dogs whenever they met. Liam's family grew more confident that they could protect her and give her a life filled with love and security. One afternoon, Dr. Marks called with surprising news. The latest genetic analysis revealed that Hope's DNA contained traces of a previously unknown canine gene, one that might hold keys to understanding animal senses in entirely new ways. This discovery could change veterinary science and help many animals, he said. But more importantly, it underscores how unique and precious Hope really is. Liam smiled, feeling proud. Hope was not just a rescued puppy. She was a living miracle. Months later, the media frenzy calmed, replaced by stories of Hope's bravery and the coalition's efforts to protect special dogs everywhere. The public rallied behind them, donations poured in, and awareness grew. Liam often reflected on the journey, from the stormy night when he first found Hope, to the frightening moments of danger, to the new family they had discovered along the way. Hope had changed his life in ways he never imagined. She had taught him about courage, compassion, and the power of hope itself. One crisp autumn evening, Liam sat with Hope beneath the glowing stars. He gently scratched behind where her ears would have been and whispered, "You're not just special because of what you look like. You're special because of who you are." Hope nuzzled his hand, her eyes shining with trust and love. No matter what the future held, Liam knew one thing for sure: Hope would never be alone again. Together, they had weathered the storm and found a new beginning. And in that beginning, hope was limitless.